important fact was that she approached Louis Andriessen. Louis Andriessen is a very open-minded composer. In the beginning, he said, well, let's just start playing together. And then Louis Andriessen even rented a harpsichord during the period that he composed Overture to Orpheus. So you could say the piece came into being from a collaboration. And that was a very important thing because in the 80s there were not many newly written pieces, especially by Dutch composers, for harpsichord. Once Louis had written the piece, other interesting composers were also willing to compose. We listened in those days very much to the radio because that was the place where you could hear new music. And she heard a fragment of Continuum by Ligeti. Ligeti wrote 3 pieces for Antoinette Fischer. And we did everything to find out what that piece was. And once you got hold of that piece, you could say it started practically all from there. It's a hallmark.
I met Annelie at a conservatory where I was teaching. We both were very much aware of the fact of all these early music instruments, that the recorder and the harpsichord were the only 2 instruments which also tried to find their way in the more contemporary sounds. Early music players, they didn't like the contemporary recorder sounds, they didn't like the contemporary clarinet sounds, they didn't like the contemporary piano sounds. Maybe at home, that's possible, but not as a part of the educational system. How can we convince not only the other teachers, the colleague teachers, but also the board of the school to take these contemporary sounds equally important for the future generations?
Sometimes people would come up and ask all kinds of questions, and sometimes it was difficult to reach them. And when she found that out, she decided, I have to talk to my audiences. So she usually started by speaking to the audience, telling them interesting facts about the pieces, telling them about what was happening in the electronics, etc. And that helped a lot. She had a very charming way of seducing her audience.
When I was young, like in the early 60s, I was born in 1951, then there were harpsichords, but they had to reinvent the Baroque music even. So Annelie brought it into the modern world, also even in the shape of the instrument. There was a lot of design work on it. She had a career already on the harpsichord, but it must have been that she heard improvisations by me, and she was very much in written, composed music. However, in that scene there was a lot of open form music too, and kind of graphic scores, probably. So I think she improvised also her way, but not the way I did it. That's completely open. You sit on the stage and you just start to play, and whatever pops up in your mind you use as material, and you build up something.
Interesting was that at a certain point a new student came, a Goska. I remember that, and she said that she only wanted to play contemporary music on the harpsichord, and behind the screens that was quite something, because the harpsichord teachers said that is impossible. You have to do also early music, and Goska had said, no, I want to do that. It took a few meetings to explain and to convince the board that it should be possible to only focus on the contemporary literature. Annelie was excited about it.
I think what's important, she made you believe that it's something very natural to play contemporary music on harpsichord, but it's not something too experimental, too exotic. It's actually, if you are not doing it, you are missing the very, very big part of harpsichord playing itself.
She was one of the first contemporary music harpsichordists, if that even exists. There were so few of them anyway.
Playing on
at the
historical
time,
instruments.
who really wanted to endorse the historical harpsichord, and in preference to the so-called modern mid-20th century type.
Yeah, but I think also during her lessons she always kind of like emphasized what were the qualities that were adding to a certain piece because of use of this instrument, and what you could bring up because of the instrument.
Yes, and in many cases even why would it be even better to play
Yes.
it on a copy, Baroque type copy harpsichord.
Eigenlijk hebben we voor die korte tijd we hebben iets van 60 stukken toch bij elkaar gesprokkeld. Nou, de duo with Annelie, double action. For me, the name of the duo is perfect because we have two persons with action and double action, really double action. Annelie was a person who was playing till the last note she wanted to do it. And as always when we heard a musician saying, yeah, but you are playing contemporary music, don't worry, the audience doesn't hear it. And then we always said, yes, but we hear it. And so when we were playing a piece together, and it was a difficult part, it was no problem because she wanted to go on and I wanted to go on. Double action, double action. I was in the beginning a little bit afraid about the dynamic differences, that I was always too loud for the harpsichord. And that is not true. That is not true. That is how Annelie played with all the registers. No, that is not true. No.
What Harry Spaarnij has meant for the bass clarinet, that is Annelie de Man for the contemporary harpsichord. What you can see in all these ambassadors is that they work with a network. A network that starts with composers, because you have to generate continuously new repertoire. It doesn't mean that it has to be always good music. It can be bad music. It could be just interesting music, challenging music, but you have to collaborate with composers. They always like to work as well with well-known composers and very underground composers and everything in between.
After Annelie died, I thought it would be a great pity if her work was not prolonged. So I decided to create a foundation, and the aim of the foundation was not to build a monument for Annelie, but to prolong her work. And Goska Isvording is doing now what Annelie used to do, which is very important. Educating young harpsichordists, showing them the way to contemporary literature.
They are more open to the new technologies, what was not 10 years before maybe, because of the general access to the technologies. So to play with them with a computer, they very easy bring electroacoustic music, their own computers to the lesson. This wild approach helps us to spread the contemporary sounds on harpsichords in this new generation. I think for them it's easier, more natural to accept.
There is eagerness. I feel that also with, we were, for example, I'm now in the jury of the new competition. And I remember sitting at the table with Goska Isvording, and I feel with her also this kind of, even if a piece is not very attractive at first sight, she is curious. It's like, well, I want to give it a chance, I want to know what it is. And that's something which was exactly, Annelie had that kind of character, exactly the same. And that tells something about oxygen in the air. It's like, it's contrary to this old music scene in that sense.
The Prix Annelie de Man is a festival that includes all kinds of activities, concerts, master classes, lectures, demonstrations, and a competition, not only for a specific sector, but for the two most important sectors of the harpsichord, that is the performers and the composers. You have a competition for players, young players, hungry players with a high level, international, and you have another competition for composers, also young composers, but could be also old composers from all over the world that has something to tell, something new to tell for the contemporary harpsichord.
It's a both ways exchange. We invite them to take part, but in the same time, from them we get a lot of feedback, because in this way they expose what they are doing for harpsichord towards us and towards our public and people here in Amsterdam. So it's not just being close here in this Dutch circle, but really being up to date, completely up to date with a level of contemporary harpsichord all over. So I find it very exciting and very important to know what everybody is doing about contemporary harpsichord everywhere.